quality is garbo. Why is the quality garbo? What the shit is going on over here? And the quality is garbo. That looks fine over here. There we go. There we go. And we are coming to you live through the power of the internet, finally. All right. Looks like we are up on Twitch and up on YouTube. We've got everything running, finally. Sorry about that. Like, Twitch just would not come up. I usually start on Twitch just to make sure that things work and that when we go to the playback, it's not garbage. But yeah, problems. No end of problems. It's good. It's a good sign. All right. And then we go here. And then we go prosper. Boop. Oops, oops, oops. Okay. There's that. And then we tweet to the dudes. That one. That. Everyone. Not. And then we go here. And we go prosper. Boop-a-doo. All right. I think we're... Oh, and we got a tweet. Tweets. Don't forget the tweets. They're important. And we retweet. Retweet. Okay. Oops, don't close that. I need that for later. All right. So, now that I've had, you know, stream issues to start off the night, and behind the times to get the slide deck finished, because I decided to go meet my wife for beers. Because how dare I have a social life? Oops, that's not the right order of operations. How are you, Internet? How are you? Hopefully things are going well on your end. I have been busier than sin. I have just been against the wall for so much stuff that needs to get done. Like I said last week, I've got basically a mentee who I'm trying to get trained up. And I've got... Oh, geez. Every time I think I'm getting close to finishing my work project, it the road extends further. It's kind of like one of those what's the word I'm looking for? Vertigo-esque extension thingies. I'm not a film guy, so It was, it's just been tough. There's a lot to do, and it's, I mean, shit's getting done, thankfully, but man, the worst part, so the worst part about my work right now is that, so I'm busting hump to get my work done for work, for real dollars work. And I'm truly trying really hard to make it excellent because I finally get to work on what is essentially my white whale. This thing I've been chasing since I started Prosper is basically flagging systems. And yes, thank you, Christopher Mellen. Dolly Zoom is the word I was looking for. And the so I finally get to work on it because the guy I work with, I mean, I don't want to badmouth him. I understand why it got built the way it was. You know, nobody knew what anything was supposed to look like, and like the biggest sin that just keeps kicking me in the dick is Mongo does a really awful job selling what it's supposed to look like. Like, they do a really great job selling you about, oh, if you use Mongo, well, you'll be one of the cool kids, and you'll solve all your problems, and aren't we cool? You could be cool too. But like, and this is a problem with like all database solutions, and Mongo being NoSQL is just an extension of the problem. Is that schema design is not inherently obvious to casual developers. Like, databases are a specialty. As much as they're supposed to be an everyday tool, like, they're absolutely a specialty, and it gets to be, again, a real pain in the dick when when you go try to get this work done and you're like, oh, well, I mean, how do I even get my stuff into the database? I got to go call database guy to get stuff done. If you put it in wrong, you're almost worse off than not putting it in at all. Like, you know, it makes it really, really hard to succeed right out the gate. And like, it's fine, right? Like, we can solve things, we can make it go. It's expensive, it's difficult, it takes a lot of energy, and I want to make it easy, and just it's not being easy. So like, the major thing I've been talking about, and now I'm 2 weeks behind where I wanted to be. I'll probably talk about the Vexor Navy issue. We'll see. Probably. I'll double check. I'm going through the slides right now. Like, the big thing I want to solve right now is to do, is to make the database connection, like, stupid simple, right? Like, I want general pubbies to be able to commit code and not have to take a database course after they've taken a Python course. Nothing. I was just talking about this with a dude over dinner tonight. Like, nothing kills enthusiasm like you all sit down. Like, you sit down, you do the thing, you think you're being really helpful, and the guy says, "Well, that was nice, but like, you're only 40% done. There's still 60%." And like, it just blows the enthusiasm budget out of the water, and nobody feels good after that, right? Like, I don't want to sit here and be like, I am very smart, hashtag I am very smart, about like why you should do whatever. Gina ZQB. I love that. I love that. That is so going in the show. And like, I mean, It's not saying that anybody couldn't do it, and I'm not more than happy to talk. You know, like, if there's one thing I can do, it sure is talk up a fucking storm, right? But like, I want to make it fun. I want you to get that dopamine hit from doing something interesting and cool. And Relative X, we're not going to talk about Vexor Navy issues this week. I'm sorry. We're going to talk about Gylas. So there's at least that. What? No, don't do that. Okay, we got that done. Now, last thing I need is you come up here. We go back to here, over to here. Oh, Dirk. Oh, Dirk. No, man. We're talking Russia, comrade. Like, it's all about them leaks. Don't let the fact that Marcone crushed the God Emperor's puny tiny hand in the handshake game and take your eyes off the real thing. The lizard government is coming after you. I don't know. I saw a tweet today. Like, that was one of my favorite tweets amid all of the consternation was, this is just petty revenge for getting his hand crushed in, by Marcon. Which I almost believe. Jesus, there is nothing interesting in the moon markets. Are you kidding me? This is my bread and butter, guys. This sucks. Well, yeah, and Christopher, it's Gylas, and that's when you watch those funny animated gifs on the internet. Like, yeah. Moon markets, you're fucking killing me, man. All right. Last set, I think. We have the violence report, yeah. Got all of those. Yeah. Okay. Nope. Praetors are a little interesting, but not... Do we care about harpies? I don't think we care about harpies. Holy shit. Jeez. I love Jive peanut butter. It's so creamy. All right. Shit. Train of thought. Derailed. Oh yeah, I was gonna press the button so you guys could actually see how the sausage was made. That might be halfway interesting. It'll be at such low resolution though. It'll be really hard to play along. So let's double check the stuff. Malfunctioning thruster sections. Oh, that is interesting. We are going to talk about that. Let's talk about it there. We should talk also about nanoribbons. Nanoribbons. Where are the nanoribbons? Melted nanoribbons. Yeah, let's talk about melted nanoribbons. I've been dying to talk about melted nanoribbons, Charlie. Can we talk about melted nanoribbons? Please. Please. I just want to talk about melted nanoribbons. Still working my way through that. I'm way behind. Oh my god. It's Mr. Strats. Long time no see. Back from the dead. So good to have you on board. Storm Command Center. Blue pill. Do we care about blue pill? I care about blue pill. I don't think everybody else does. Osprey, Navy issue. Do not care about that. APOC Navy issue is kind of interesting. I know this is going to be really hard to make out on stream, but figured just talking to myself is not the way to do this. Cheetah is a little interesting. That one. Cheetah is bombers. Bombers. Relative X, if you get on the Discord and ping me, I will I can send you a link to the dump on Dropbox. I'm more than happy to share them. It's just it's not a very popular thing to share, so is that an assault frigate? Is that what's going on here? No, it's right, okay. Succubus are down. What's the volume on those? Not high enough to give a shit. Triage modules are down, but that's fine. Oh wait, no. Come back. Come back. What is that? Oh, that is cute. Let's put that in the show. And I have a source so you can run these on your own machine. Like if technical analysis is what you wanted to do, like I can set you up right after the show or at the end of the show. We're gonna put that one down here. Almost done, and I think I'll get done in the ta-da nick of time. I wish I had a tags index. That would be really cool. Near us. Prowler's a little interesting. Okay, which just leaves that set. Deimos. I don't know if that's worth pulling up. And we're already going to talk about Zydrane. Cool. Well, bad news, Cliff. This show and the next one are the last ones. We're stopping at episode 100 because I am a burnt out husk of a man. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about Zydrane. And it's gonna be an excellent point to talk about leaks. Oh my god, fucking CSM leaks, man. There is some Russia grade leaking going on over here. Is Michael Flynn playing EVE Online these days? Just for you, Dirk. I'm going to do more political jokes. All right. Yes, and Rodin is picking up the slack. There was one more, wasn't there? Am I just going nuts? Oh no, it's that Blue Horseshoe is still making things, and I need to send the Twitter credentials over to Caleb so they can continue to make that show without me being a dead weight. Let's see. Okay, so we got about a 5-minute warning before we get started. Let's see. Where do we start? Welcome to the show. If this is your first one, thank you for tuning in. And if you guys are tuning in from work, hello. I spammed a bunch of my coworkers about if you wanted to see what I do on a Thursday night, my wild and crazy Thursday night. This was like your last chance to tune in. So good news is we got about an hour's worth of economic content and hot spicy graphs ready for you. Bad news is this is the second to last show that we plan on doing. The show is going to end officially on episode 100, but do not fear, do not unsubscribe. I got two things for you. One, if you do enjoy the graph content, if you are looking to get into programming, if you enjoy the data science part of it, oh, there is going to be more content for you guys. I do want to keep the same name and logo and stuff. I still love the little brand I've kind of built up over here. But I'd like to sort of take a whack at sort of an imposter syndrome style programming thing and see if we can build up a community where we can get people doing better work faster and like get those paychecks IRL up, if that's the sort of thing you want to do. Second, I'm not saying I'm leaving EVE entirely. No one truly quits EVE. I'm only retiring to Space Florida. I do reserve the right to come back if, the next Great War actually ever happens and we don't just turn into Serenity. I do reserve the right that, like, big news, like, we can still run the tools. The show isn't like, it'll take a lot for CCP to break me. Like, we can still do shows in the future. I'd still like to do something with the monthly economic numbers. But CCP, you got to get me the raw numbers. I keep calling you about this, and you keep not fixing it. Delve is not Space Florida, okay? Like, no. Let's see, what's next? Right. If you enjoy the content of the show, you want to know how the graphs are made, everything is done. Every graph is made custom in-house with R, same tools that CCP Quant uses to make all of his delicious graph porn. All of the sources are open, but the data sources are not. I'd like to change that at some point in the future. That's going to depend on how this new project goes. I'm hoping that we can use the last bits of the Prosper project I really wanted to launch, to call this Feature Complete, as a springboard to get to get some of the topics I want to do for the programming podcast done. So things like the new database connections, the new database software, REST connections. Like, these are all things that dovetail very nicely with Eve. And it gives you a chance. I have a huge Plex vault to get through, and I am more than happy to pay for your game time if you send me pull requests that have issues attached to them. So I do want to keep using you guys as a community, and like we can all build things up. Is kind of the hope and dream. Last on the thing, if you enjoy the show, I got to say thank you to everybody who tunes in live, and I got to say thank you to everybody who contributes. We have a Patreon that will stay open until the end of June. This is our Prosper fund to keep the lights on. There was terrible news last week that, Eve Guides, the main mission resource for everybody, had run into some fuckery with the PayPal donations, and he rage quit pretty spectacularly, and I don't blame him at all. But if you don't want to see that happen to our profit endpoint, and you want to make sure that stays around, this is your last chance to throw a buck in the jar until we relaunch everything. This is your last chance to buy me a beer through Patreon. Like, this is that. The doors close at the end of June. Those who are contributing, who have contributed, I do appreciate immensely. This show would not have been possible without our patrons. We would not have been able to get nearly as far as we have without them. And my wife would have made me give up this show a long time ago. But the ability to build up our hardware stash and keep the licenses paid and make it so this show kind of runs itself has been I wish I could say exactly just how much that means to me, that a bunch of space nerds gave money to a wannabe data scientist to make graphs about a fake economy. Like, it always sounds so ridiculous, but like, there's no community like the Eve community, and it's been an amazing ride to get here, and it's only because of the success here that we've got as far as we have, that I am taking the risk, doing the work to relaunch into something even bigger, and that is directly thanks to all of the Eve people. That without your constant patronage, both monetarily and tuning in and getting subscribed and getting those numbers up and turning this into more than just a weird rando talking to himself on the internet. It really means a lot, especially okay, I'm gonna make the show late here because one of the things that always bothered me, so there's a really big active Twitch contingent here in Seattle, and it's great meeting up with them. Love them, they're lovely people. But like, I watch Twitch streams, and I see everybody doing the Let's Play phenomenon or the highly produced podcast thing, and I sort of never thought that it was possible to do what we do here, where we take a very serious business approach to something that is extremely niche of a niche. Like, to elevator pitch this to randos, they're like, what do you do? And I say, well, the easiest way to surmise it is mad money with none of the enthusiasm. But like, that belays all of the all of the work underneath the hood that makes the show possible. The fact that we make all of our own analytics, that Eve makes it possible to do this level of analytics, that I can be like your diet CCP quant at all is astounding, and it's extremely rare. Like, there are only a couple of people who get to do that. That's people like Daha's on Dota, for instance. It gets up there, but you have like the amount of extra work to get to be Daha's. Like, the fact that it's as easy as it is in Eve has done so much for my real career. It's done so much for my community, like feeling part of the community. Yeah, I got to thank everybody. I really do. This is getting super rambly, and I just mean to say thank you, because it really means an astounding amount to me. And though I don't get much email, I have got a chance to talk with a bunch of you guys face to face or one on one, and like when normal people tell me that this is a waste of time, I remind them that this is how I got my job that I do right now. But like, the chance to drink beers with you guys and talk about the nerdiest shit on the entire internet, and is just a real gift. So yeah, it's been really great. I wanted to say thank you, and I'll probably do another less rambly version when we get the show actually started. But now that I've blown out my time and gone super rambly and trying not to tear up over here, getting all verklempt, let's see. Let's go ahead and finish the thing. The show runs about 45 minutes. We start real soon here. I don't tend to answer questions during the show, but we will do a 30-minute plus Q&A after the show, and we can talk about whatever you want. No questions too stupid. We'll try to keep out of the politics, just because I know I'm not particularly good at letting Dirk there have the other side of the argument. Nothing against you, Dirk. I just steamroll you because it's my show and you don't have a mic. So no hate. I'm a bad host. The worst. Very sad. Low energy. So with that, let's get this show running and going. Let me get the buttons in the right places so we can make this happen. Let's turn off that fan so I can save my lovely editor a little bit of noise. Excuse me. Good evening and welcome to the penultimate show for Prosper. I am your host, Lockefox. This is episode number 99. It kills me that we have come so far, and we are almost to the end here. But the show must go on. It is great to have everyone here tuning in live. So let's go ahead, get straight on into the news. Let's not go straight to the news, because I know which buttons I'm pressing. Let's go into the show information one. Because I mean, I'm my first day. It's my first stream, guys. Please be nice. So once again, I am Lockefox. This is the Eve Prosper Show. You can keep in touch with us. All you got to remember is Eve Prosper. That'll get you to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and our blog. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, if you want to get my ear about anything, you should join our Discord. Links to join should be down in the doobly-doo down below. The good news is this is episode 99. The bad news is episode 100 is going to be our last. So Just a bit of a schedule tweak. Do keep an eye on Twitter. I am going to be looking over my schedule this next week. I would rather do episode 100 on a weekend so that both our European and US friends can all tune in together. So do keep posted there. I don't have it nailed down quite yet. I'm thinking 1800 Saturday, not this Saturday, but the following. So keep an eye there. Number 2, if you enjoy the show, if you want to support us, a few things you can do. 1, don't unsubscribe, because if you enjoy the graph porn, if you enjoy the code work, if you enjoy the data science work of this, if you are looking to grow some of those code chops, maybe make a few extra bucks IRL with some new talents, you should keep subscribed, because I'd like very much to turn this into not quite a code camp, but maybe a less serious tutorial, editorial sort of thing. If you want to support me in that move, keep subscribed, join our Discord. There will be more information soon. 2, if you want to make sure that our services keep online, do throw a buck or two in our Patreon at patreon.com/EveProsper. We're using the last bit of run out here in June to shore up our options for hosting in perpetuity. And again, I hate to pick on the guy, but Eve Guides went down last week thanks to a PayPal snafu. And if you want to make sure that that doesn't happen to us, we're making sure preparations are made. But every dollar goes a very long way in this hosting problem. If we have to spin up DigitalOcean stuff and whatever. And I know we do have offers to keep the stuff hosted, but this is your last chance to buy me a beer about Eve Prosper. So, and if you can't give monetarily, if you just want to support the show, do share us with all your friends. And don't forget about all the other market shows going on right now. There is Rodin on Wednesdays at 0100. That's Tuesday night U.S. time. Is doing a very similar show to us, except he's actually trading with real money. So he's talking about what he's trading and how he's trading it. And the one and the only, the original, DeLone Wolf at Eve Talk will continue doing what he is doing. So you can keep getting your market news. I am not the only place to get it, but definitely the best, right? Am I right? Am I right? Anyway, so with that, let's launch right into the news while I hack up along very quickly. All right. Let's start where we always do, with Plex, the most wonderful of commodities. Had broken. We were down at 2.7 million. It's really hard to talk about Plex and not put billion in front of it. I got to tell you guys. We had seen a break in the clouds, and then last night, I believe a sale was announced. It's not reflected here on the big chart yet, but when we get to the zoom in, you'll see that it's doing a particular number to the rest of the Plex market. Zooming all the way out to 1 year. Again, we are very, very high, and we got very, very high, very, very fast. And this is why you're supposed to step out your edibles and not do them all at once. Sorry, that was a terrible Washington joke. But we're getting back into about a normal rhythm, so we could stay here at the 2650 sort of space. I'd like to see it come back down under 2.6. I don't think we'll get there with the pressure we have right now. The volumes are still pretty low, and economic pressure still keeps pointing to upward Plex prices. So if we zoom all the way in, we can see the Plex price gets announced, the prices dump. This is adjusted for the monthly cost of Eve, which means that we've gone from 1.4 billion a month down to 1.3 on a buy order. Lots of pressure on the buy orders to try and soak up and put a floor here on the fall. I don't think we'll get much below the 2.6 million mark here. And I still think that we are very cash rich, but I won't know anything about that until hopefully next week when the economic numbers come out. So let me do this in the right order. We're going to talk about a couple of big pieces of news when we get to them in the show. I have some words for Fozzie. I'm not sure if he'll hear them or if he'll care. It probably isn't his department. But like, this is a very short respite in my opinion. And if you're in the market to buy, now is not a bad chance to be buying in. I don't think we'll see another good chance to buy in like this until the end of the summer. Maybe around when the Alliance tournament comes in for real and we see deals to try and juice the numbers. We might see them, but like we didn't see Plex packages during the last Alliance tournament. And I'm not sure that the bidding round has happened yet. So again, this is a really, really excellent chance to stock up into this weekend, and getting this 135 billion, 2.6-ish million Plex is a great opportunity. So, and Dirk is correcting me. Bidding has happened. So pressure should be off for the short term. But as soon as this sale is over, I think we're going to be back up to 2627. And I think the summer, if my gut for the economic numbers in May come to pass, I think that we will be at 1.5 billion a month account costs come the end of the summer. And thank you. I did fix the graph. Thank you. Hold your applause. We get, unfortunately, while it was broken, we missed some of the best stuff when we got into that spike territory. So this is where one of the more advanced strategies I have been trying to sell, and I've been doing a terrible job selling it, so this is on me, is that injectors and Plex are related. We know that they're related because Plex buys extractors, and Plex is technically convertible to skill points, right? That the they do move together, but they don't move in lockstep. And there's opportunities here when they don't move at the same time. So this was an excellent opportunity. I think I said last week to be buying into a spike as it corrects, and the graph sort of shows that we went too low in the price. Like, this was an excellent opportunity to be buying in, waiting for the correction. We didn't see as much of that correction. So again, zoom in here, we see the crossover point here, and it's not inherently obvious in this graph, in this previous graph, that like that's exactly what's going on, because this is just a price to cost ratio kind of problem. And we saw that if you were just looking at Plex, you just say that the two of them are sort of lockstepped. And the other thing here we're seeing is that volumes are getting a little bit tight, which makes this an even better speculative opportunity and keeps us on track for an 800 million injector cost here in the next, let's say, 10 days. It's interesting to see that we are so short. This might be part of the reason why part of the Plex sale going on right now is a extra special deal on extractors. That is not reflected here. I don't have this. This isn't smart enough to be like, oh, well, the price of injectors is down for this week. I can't do discontinuities like that. But that might be juicing the supply here to bring us back down to 750. But I kind of expect, I still expect injectors to be a really slow market, because injectors are still have a really awful penalty curve for the majority of the player base. And okay, majority might be might be saying too much about it, but like where they're a really good idea for people in the, let's say, up to 20 million skill points range. The people who have the money, the people who could be using this as an implant offset, are all north of 100 million, or all north of at least 60 million. And like that whole there's a problem between the people who have the money to participate in the market are not the same unit of people who are most subsidized to participate in the market. So again, this is me on my soapbox saying that the penalty curve needs to be reduced. I still like there to be a penalty curve. I would just like it to be relaxed so that we can get more players in this market. It ends up being not such a bad idea, because once you're in the top bin, you're only getting 5% of any injector, and that is a terrible deal. Like, unless you're Iron Bank and you're doing it for a stunt, it's a terrible deal, right? So with that, let's just go on to market indexes. I think I've said enough about skill trading for now. Well, we can talk more about it after the show if you want to go tune in, and if you're watching this on YouTube, the live stream should be there. You can fast forward to the end. Let's talk about market indexes. Hey, look, another graph I fixed. Yay. Tuned in last week. There was a whole item list missing from the thing. Turns out we weren't pulling in extractors on our remote database, because I am good at this. And like, sorry guys, like I said, it's my first show. I'm new at this. Please be nice. Like and subscribe. I need to stop watching movies with Mikey. But let's talk about the metrics. We were seeing a decline in ships and materials. Materials were turning around, but bad news. CCP is coming down from on high and nerfing Rorks, and doing a pretty good kick in the teeth, that we'll talk about once we get down into minerals. But not only are we seeing yields nerfed, we're seeing speeds for the drones nerfed, we're seeing respawn rates nerfed so that the availability of ore is going down. This is a pretty heavy-handed rebalance, in my opinion. And to be honest, it feels a little bit too much like FU Goons. Because to be honest, I kind of liked the high yield rates. The only downside being that it sort of screwed up the minimum wage for Eve, being a bad first impression for alphas coming into the game. And like, I was almost willing to let that slide, because, well, there were plenty of other markets that made sense to go to. And really, if your first experience with Eve is mining, like, can we stop doing that to newbies? Like, can we just ignore mining for anybody who hasn't played for more than 45 days? Like, just as a community, can we just pretend it doesn't exist? So I kind of expect this number to come down a little bit, but it's going to be a trade-off of price and volume. So I think our net level will stay relatively flat, only drifting down because of lower summer activity, because people will be outside enjoying the glorious sunshine, as opposed to staying indoors and playing fake internet spaceships. The other interesting thing is the bump in the skill market and the RMT markets over the split. It's interesting to see that we dipped down in total value over the actual split, again thanks to order cancellation. That's what I'm going to attribute it to. But we've brought it way back up again. We're almost towards record highs, not just in value, but in net trade moving through the system. And actually, like, the general market numbers are looking a little bit better than I expected them to. They're starting to do a little bit of a turnaround here coming into the start of June. So we might see just a small glimmer of hope for the next, couple of weeks as people are coming off, coming into summer vacation and getting done with finals and blowing off some steam. But I don't have high hopes for this summer. I'm hoping that the monthly economic numbers come out next week, and because as NanoQ is saying in stream, ratting needs to get nerfed. So moving on, let's talk about Total Destruction. Total Destruction is flat. Counts are down, but value is flat. I'm okay with that. That's an okay trade-off. I'd like to see like 7 to 8% more destruction than we're seeing right now. I think we're a little bit thin, especially with ISK being as cheap as it is, with that high plex price. Like being and I've gone on this rant a couple of times that the as the price of Plex grows ever higher, your risk aversion should go down. And I know that's a shitty economist thing to say, but like the raw value of your dollars keeps buying more and more ISK when the metas to PvP remain relatively flat. And I've gone on a big rant about this. We can talk more about this at the end of the show, but like the TLDR is, as Plex prices rise, why wouldn't you be willing to fly more PvP stuff? Because you could technically buy more for the same value, if we're talking in dollars. I know that not everybody can be talking in dollars. I know that this is extraordinarily shitty if you are not in the privileged class who gets to suck down delicious rat bounties for no effort. But the fact that PvP just continues to dwindle it kind of pisses me off at the end of the day. Like it's getting cheaper and cheaper to get whelped. Why would you still be risk averse? And like, and if we put a really fine point on it, it's just a fucking video game. What do you care if some stuff gets blown up? Please go get shit destroyed. It drives the economy. Anyway, moving on to minerals. Like I said, talking about the change proposed by Fozzie in the June release, which should be coming out in very soon. We should be seeing less yield coming from Rorks, and I kind of expect this to be a 1-2 punch. The places I would be speculating. One, there should be a sell-off in skill points, because I kind of expect 20% of Rork pilots to throw their hands in the air and go, F this. When they do that, we may see another sell-off of skill points that goes along with that, where people liquidate the brains, the skill points out of Rorks and just say screw it. Number two, we should see less volume coming to market, a general rising in prices across the board. Less on the low ends, more on the high ends is kind of what I expect. So Trit staying level at 4.5, I kind of expect it to come back to 5.0. I expect this number to drop down to about 30 billion units on the market, which should get us to just about 5.0. Now, it's an okay buy if you were in it for 4 to hold out for 5.0, 5.1. But with this buy window shrinking, I think that the opportunity to jump on this list has kind of gone out the door. Next, Pyrite. So for my tinfoil chewers in the audience, there's more than a little bit that makes me queasy here in the mineral numbers, especially now that we've seen the nerf. I had said last week that Pyrite had just been an odd duck, and there was no like correlation to as to why it all of a sudden jumped almost 20% in price. And then we get the dev post today. If I were a Gevlon style guy, like, this looks leaky as fuck. Zooming in, we saw some buyouts holding the prices low. These are pretty high volumes for a one person to be messing with. But, like, I mean, it's sneaky, and that the prices, the sell prices got all funky when and none of this got sold off to buy orders so much. Like, we see most of the action here on the sell side means that people were trying to buy out this pyrite, trying to get it into their stocks, not so much selling it off. Like, this is hinky. This is gross. And like, this is leak territory in my book. And I think it has enough headway that it actually could be a CSM leak. Now, the last time we talked about this, turns out it was more of a it was Plex driven by skill injectors. Was the last time we saw this, and everybody was losing their shit. I think this is a little more insidious, a little slower, and when we get down to Zydrine, I'll have a little bit more to back this up. Moving on, Mexilon is down, but this is a great chance to buy in if we think that all the boats will go up. Volumes are pretty high. This is a great chance for this to turn around, and getting these last orders at 70. I mean, this is your chance to get on the boat. And if you had been buying in, even though I told you guys not to, it's a pretty good chance. It's still a good chance to jump in if you're watching now. I wouldn't want to buy higher than 72 or 73 because I expect 80 to be our high point, and I really expect to hit only like 78. And yeah, this is a decent opportunity. Volumes are getting a little bit short, so we might see a hot spike in the next over Friday and Saturday. We might get just over 80, 85 just on a quick hot second. The volumes are getting nice and tight. This is a really good speculative point for a really short-term jump in. Next, Isogen. Isogen is in the dumps, and sorry to all the stepchildren for the joke last week. It just keeps dumping. Now, again, this is a pretty good chance to jump in. We've hit about the bottom where RSI would tell us we can't really fall much farther, much faster. And we got the benefit of new FOSI information saying that minerals should be coming up, should have an upwards trend. Now, nerfing Rorix I don't think is going to do much to the Isogen price. We might get back to 51, 52, but I don't expect to get to 60, as it were. And again, you're seeing the divergence right here where the news hits the market, and now people are trying to like rush in and buy. So getting these 45 buy orders, 46 buy orders, even buying sells at 47.5, I think is not a terrible idea. And aiming for a 54, 55 might be the way to go. And if this I'd be watching this volume like a hawk for the next like 36 hours, 48 hours. Because if we get under the 500 million units mark, I think that this could get much hotter, much faster. And this is a really excellent opportunity to buy in. And I know I talk a lot of shit about Isogen, but like for once, please, Isogen, just be my bro. Don't disappoint me. Noxium is down, and I expect it to come up slightly. We were at 360. We've just been bouncing around that for the last week. Supplies are pretty hot, so I expect buys to slump under 350 in the next couple of days. But again, rising tide should put us back up close to 400. This is a much harder spot to pick, given the technicals. Like, it's not super obvious. It's an okay buy-in, but this is one I would hedge. It's not as good as Mexilon. It's not as good as Isogen. And then Zydrine. Hey, would you look at that? Zydrine got bought out 3-4 days before the Fozzie blog. Ain't that strange? Ain't that weird? Ain't it weird that suddenly 100 million units just happened to leave the market 72 hours before Fozzie posts? Huh. That's strange, don't you think? I usually don't like chewing the tinfoil. I kind of do this just to be facetious because lol drama, but like, ooh, man, that does not look good. That looks super leaky. And I would be I would be making calls. Um, that's almost 4 days ahead of the announcement in something that I fully expect CSM to have been briefed upon. So I don't think Internal Affairs is going to find anybody, and if they do, it's going to be a shell of a shell. So whatever. There is no justice, but like, talk about sleazy that we lose 80 million units 4 days before the blog comes out, and we reset the price all of a sudden super high. Like, no, man, that's just, you're messing with me, man. And last but not least, Megasite staying steady at 1.2. Again, we expect this to come up slightly. I'd expect a price of 1.3. It's not an excellent buy-in. Volumes are still pretty steady. And we might see this dump before it spikes. If we expect people to cash out Megasite reserves like we saw here going into the Plex split, we might see another dump down to 115 before we get up to 130, sorry. And that might be a decent play to watch out for. I'd be watching the volume numbers here to get up to 125 million units on market, and then buy in and wait for this to come back down again after the June release. Like, this is your sort of longer term play, is to aim for a 115, 114, 113 sort of price, and then sell out at aim for a 130 sell off. And last but not least, Morphite. Not a lot to say on Morphite. Volumes are staying pretty strong, which is nice to see. But supplies are just so hot right now. I think that this one's not a good one to speculate with the Rourke mining, because I really don't think Rourkes are mining much of the Macroxit. So like, there's not much to say here. And until either a big Tech 2 rebalance comes through, i.e. moon mining, or a big war breaks out, which again I don't really expect. Things I think are going to stay pretty quiet here in Morphite, and I wouldn't be expecting the 10K sell off we're aiming for anytime soon. Like, this is going to be quiet for a while. So yeah. Next, going into isotopes, it's interesting to watch nitrogen and oxygen slumping as hard as they are. They should be back up to 800 now with the Rourke nerf, and again, I expect less of the price increase to be coming from the yield nerf, and more coming from people saying, "F this, I'm not flying a Rourke anymore." I think that it's going to drive the price up to 800, 820 perhaps. I don't know if I'd go all the way to 850. But it's not a bad chance to buy in here on the bottom of that market. It's risky because every day that we tick towards moon mining, I think that we're heading towards a 800 steady state. So yeah, it's a little risky. You got to do your research, but it's not a bad chance to buy in, especially on the oxygen topes, is where I'd be pointing my speculation. And then looking across the rest of the market, what's really got me is how healthy the fuel block margins are right now. They have been extraordinarily wide for the last few months, and I know I gave a bunch of shit about this a couple of months back when I got this graph redone, but the margins staying nice and steady and high here, especially on nitrogen fuel blocks, is pretty decent for the industrialists out there. And the Amar and Minmatar blocks are having extraordinary margins, considering, because so we expect all of the block prices to coalesce to a similar value, right? If you're running an EC or a Citadel, you're going to pick the cheapest fuel, and so it's going to all come up to the right, up to a similar level. The thing that I didn't expect is that the isotopes are still staying really low, which says to me that there is just so much of these second tier isotopes out there that there is a really great manufacturing opportunity here. And now that I've said it here live on the air, I expect to have completely destroyed that. So sorry, anybody who is using blocks as their moneymaker. But we're talking about some serious margin here, man. I haven't seen blocks that good off since we saw the big reset back in March. Looking at strontium, not a lot going on in the sell prices or in the volumes. Buy volumes coming up a bit is a little bit of a sign, but let's be honest here. It's pretty easy to screw up the buy numbers, so I wouldn't put too much credence in this. I'd like to see us back closer to the 20 million units mark before I start talking about, oh, they're going to war. So yeah, let's see. Heavy water going higher, but I expect this to dump. So if you were holding on, 360 is your sell-off point. You should get off this this track, because it's going to get worse with the Rourke exodus. Next, outliers. Let's talk about outliers. Advanced materials. So, man, it breaks my heart. I almost want to drop this from the show. There's just nothing to talk about in the moon markets. Now, I'm being a little facetious. There's interesting stuff going on at the R16 level, but R16s are kind of always a little bit weird. So I don't know if those waves will move up through the system, but without anybody switching hands on stuff, and without T2 being driven in PvP metas, this is stagnating hard. So if you're speculating in moon markets, and I know moon markets have been my favorite to tell people where to go make their first billion, I'm here to tell you this party is over. I'd stay off of this market for a couple of weeks. It is cold. It is shitty. Check back in a couple of weeks. I would not want to keep holding positions here in advanced materials. Next, let's talk about T3. So I had said last week that about some of the bets I would have made ahead of the T3 focus group. And where I had said to make bets was in the material markets, because I expect once the new mixes came out, that a lot of back product would start coming out of wormholes. There'd be some great volatility to start driving through this stuff as people speculate and counter speculate, and it was going to be a great chance to jump in the fray with none of the baggage. But Fozzie ruined my day there and said that a lot of the new balances are going to be done with new items from new drops, which breaks my heart again, which means that the best place to be speculating is in the reverse engineering components. So your melted thruster consoles and your the subcomponents there. And then in the hulls themselves, and rather specifically only in the Tech 3 cruiser hulls, as far as I can tell. So melted nanoribbons are up, which is good news if you're a wormhole dude who's been holding on to this, hoping that good times are coming around. 1.6 mil, I'd be trying to wind down out of those positions, though, because I don't know if you're going to get 1.8 or 2.0 without Probag Bear coming in and saving your ass. Next, malfunctioning thruster section. So this is another one that is down this week, but could be up. Again, it's hard to tell. They didn't say what the... we're going down to 4 sections instead of 5, but they didn't say what the conversions really were, or are we going down to 4 choices instead of 5? I'm not really a T3 guy, so I'm a little green on this. The mixes here are a good opportunity if you're going to go comb through the dev blogs and the summit notes. This is a great chance to go do some research, make a buck. But these are the ones I've been watching personally. Moving on to ships, Gilas are poised to fall, so I'd be getting those 190 mil buy orders ready. Maybe get down to the 188s. Supplies are getting really hot. Stockpiles are backing up, and this tends to be rather cyclical. So, again, an opportunistic buy order down here under 190 is where I'd jump in on this, and aim for a 210, 215 to get out of it. It's not a bad turnaround. You might have to wait a couple of weeks to get paid, but like this is not a bad place to play coming into the summer, in my opinion. And then my favorite, do you know what's been coming up on the on my Z Killboard numbers is the excavator mining drones, those Rourke mining drones. Oh man, this makes me so happy to see those things dying in droves. Prices just keep going up, and I think these things are going to keep dying pretty hard. I'm sorry, Dirk. Dirk is correcting me. It's Gila. You want to go be buying Gilas. The excavator mining drones just keep flying off the shelves. It's a great chance to buy in at under 1.1 bill. Like so there should be a sell-off that might get us down to 1.0 or just under 1.0. Again, watching for the June release might be a chance to jump in, but like I'd be placing my buy orders. Like I'd be putting 2 buy orders. I'm putting one at this 105 level where we're at right now and playing the front end of the curve. And I'd put something more of a backfill order down at 1 bill, or finding out where the floor is on that. Again, go to adam4eve.eu to go see the order depths live. I really love that chart. The opportunity here is kind of a couple different things. Is one, you catch the people throwing away their Rourkes, and you catch their cheap material. Great. Number 2, the Rourkes that stay around are going to lose these more often, so prices should come back up again. I'd be aiming for a 1.2, 1.25, maybe 1.3 if I'm really opportunistic. But like the real meat here is to do an active buy order where I try to get 1Z, 2Z here on the front of it. And then I put like a much larger 10 or 15 or 20 buy order down closer to 1 billion, trying to catch this fall. And then when it comes back up again, those are the 2 plays I would do. Another interesting one that came across the tools this week is the Council Diplomatique. Special edition asset is through the roof. Somebody is buying these things out, and if you've been sitting on a stack of them, like I might be, this is a great chance to sell off. I think this is going to crash down pretty hard, pretty fast, but I'm glad that my tools didn't miss this one like we missed the Leopard a couple of months back. All right, moving into prediction review, where we talk about the Tech 3 cruisers. I think this is going to be the best place to speculate in with the new rebalancing. A lot of this is already happening. We saw Loki's mentioned favorably for it wasn't dual tanking, was it? It was either like dual prop or dual tanking options, I think is what they had. And that spiked. Tengus were up. Proteus are up. Like, I think this is going to be definitely a watch the meta very closely, and play on the sentiment analysis kind of thing. The first order stuff unfortunately has passed, and I feel like a real asshole not saying ahead of time to put your money on T3 cruisers, because I played myself, right? Like, if it's obvious, you don't need me telling you about it here on the show. Like, if you read the dev blog, if you read the forum posts, you're already thinking Tech 3 cruiser rebalance is Tech 3 cruisers. I am smart, right? Like that's the number one thing. But like everybody's thinking that. Every single person does that. It's in the fucking headline, right? Like you don't need to have a data science empire to know that when they say T3 cruisers, they mean T3 cruisers, right? I was hoping to play the second order thing where we talk about the thing right behind it, where we use some of the industry stuff and we use some of the knowledge we know about wormhole rumors coming around. And then Fozzie just ruined my day about that. So whatever, it's fine. That's the life of a speculator: is you win some, you lose some. I still think there's opportunities to jump in on this, but I'd be really watching on the buy order side rather than the sell order side. So Legion's in a particularly nice spot to be buying in. Proteus is in a not terrible spot. I'd be watching for something closer to a 110 buy order personally. Tengus, I mean, there's a lot of Tengus out there, but they're some of the cheapest to jump in on right now. So if they don't get completely screwed, you might be able to gamble. Right now, we're more in gambling territory than we are in speculative territory, but they took away casinos, so you guys got to get your jollies somewhere. And then in the T3 cruiser, in the tactical destroyer markets, again, I had expected the raw materials to fluctuate, and this was going to be another second order speculation, but seeing as we're not seeing anything in the material markets, we're not seeing anything in the T3Ds. So again, I'm eating all of the shoe on this one. So sorry about that. So sorry. And then last, we talked about this last week that Viators had a big buyout and were crashing down in price. If you're watching really closely on this, we might see an overcorrection down close to 120 million. I don't know if we'll get buy orders quite that low. I don't have a zoom in on this handy, but the opportunity here is to, the thing I don't get is this sort of reads like there was evac or something and I just didn't know about it. So I don't know why we spiked the price this hard, where we added 20-30% to the price. This is strange, and then we should expect industrialists to oversupply and knock the price down. I'd maybe put a buy order at 122, 122 million perhaps, to try and slurp up some cheap stuff and look for a 1-3 sell-off, but 130 sell-off. But again, for all the shit I'm piling on Morphite and on moon mining, speculating in Tech 2 is a really dangerous place to be speculating right now. So I don't know how much I believe my own hype on this one. And last, and certainly not least, is our violence report. Let's talk about what has been dying. Excavator drones are churning up, and again, we expect this count to keep going up. The value destroyed is actually pretty astounding. To see 60 billion of these things destroyed in one day, it's gotta hurt. That totally sucks. I mean, you don't have to kill a lot of them to get to 60 billion, but otherwise, mix is looking about the same we expect every week. It's great to see the Thanatos back. We haven't been seeing that in the lists very often. Otherwise, the mix looks about the same. Talking about solar systems, again, the K-Space and Losec are leading the pack again. We see Anomalia and Tama still at the front of the pack with Jita. Camella at least is, I think, a staging system. I don't know where Camella is staging. And GE Tech 8 looks like some people might be harassing some goons with the Rourke mining. Like, I think this is actually a Rourke massacre is what's driving that. But like, again, sorry, null bears, like, you keep telling me you're preparing for war, but then you're not PvPing. You gotta get out there. Like, it's okay. You have all of that money. You can lose a ship or two. It's fine. It doesn't hurt. You'll get those great PvP shakes. Go out with a couple of your bros and like, give them what's for. Don't just do an F1 fleet. Go and roam and, get out there and snatch some cheap kills from people who aren't paying attention. And then last, bringing up the the region counts. Black Rise leading the path. Catch just coming around this week. Pravi and Pureblind making up the back of the pack. So at least we're seeing null regions driving things. And ooh, bad day in Catch for destruction this week. But like seriously, the kill counts are so low, guys. Just like you're supposed to be elite bad guys. Like go kill stuff. Get on the bus. Get hot dropped on something. Get those kill mail. Go and whore those kill mails, guys. Come on, you're supposed to be these great guys, these hardened badasses. You got to go kill each other. Remember what that's like. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap up the show. I have been your host, Lockefox. This has been the Eve Prosper Show. And if you want to follow us, all you got to remember is Eve Prosper. That'll get you to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and our blog. I know that, again, this is one of our last shows, episode 99, and we're ending on 100, so I got to thank everybody who tuned in live. I will have an announcement out soon about when our final show will be. I would very much like to do this on a weekend so we can get both the EU guys and the US guys all under one roof, get those numbers out for a big blowout. But I haven't figured out that schedule yet, so that's on me. Do get subscribed. Don't hit that unsubscribe button because there will be more content showing up in the same places. It's just going to be slightly different. And I'd still like to do some office hours, just schedules have not worked out. So get subscribed, check out the show, and if you want to get in touch with me, the very best place to do so is on our Discord. Links to join should be down in the doobly-doo below. Oops, I can press the right button. Let's see. Last couple of notes. Oops. I'm screwing things up over here. Anyway, last couple of notes. If you want to keep our services on the air in perpetuity, do consider dropping $1 in our Patreon jar. The Patreon closes at the end of June, and every dollar that goes in will go towards keeping our services running. That is our data services and things like our profit endpoint that power Eve Mogul and AdamForEve.eu. It's like I said before, the guy at Eve Guides got screwed by PayPal, and thankfully we're in a position that shouldn't happen. But we need your support to keep that from happening. If you can't support us monetarily, that is perfectly fine. Do not just check into our show, but go check out other market shows from the likes of Rodin at EVNT TV and DeLone Wolf at Eve Talk. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close up this show. I want to thank everybody who tuned in. We will be back soon, probably at some point next week. I've been your host, Lockefox. This has been the Eve Prosper Show, and I will see you all next week. All right. Buttons. That button. Bye, guys. Bye. Have a nice life. I bent my Wookiee. Like and subscribe. And if you're not watching Movies with Mikey, you're really missing out. Like, that is one of my favorite YouTubes going on right now. All right, that button. Hey. Oh man, it's Fi. Holy shit. Do I have a dick butt gif? Aw, hearts to Fi. I miss you, bro. I need to figure out when I can get down to Denver and we can have beers. I mean, you can always ask questions on Discord. That's what it's there for. Okay, we will check in with you at the end of this. So let's go ahead. It is Q&A time. Go, feel free to get your questions in the chats. I'm watching both on all the platforms, YouTube, Twitch, Discord. Please don't message me on Twitter about them because I'll miss them. I only have so many windows, man. You're my hero, Fi. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so Kerry Killingsworth is asking if I'm using these tools to analyze real-world economic data. How do you expect real-world data compares to the relatively closed environment of Eve? So the two big problems for real-life data are access. Eve spoils you in the fact that the schemas and the APIs are really, really well maintained, like exceptionally above bar maintained. Getting that kind of access either costs money or costs a fuckload of time. The other thing is the sheer size of it, where Eve, we talk about tracking maybe 10,000 to 15,000 items at a time. Effectively, we're talking about an order of magnitude up from that to talk about real life data. What I really want to do is work on our data pipelines so that we can get that data into a central store and start using it so that like I don't give as many shits about like the OHLC data and the raw market data, right? Like there are people like the high frequency trading stuff that goes on there is way beyond my pay grade. Like I can't, I have a hard time explaining just how not even close to playing the same game as we are. I've talked to some HFT guys and like they're reading packets right off the wire and putting them into FPGAs that have custom logic gates in them to execute orders in milliseconds, and they're paying $10,000 a month for microwave internet so that they get microwave and laser internet so that they get line of sight to the markets. Like it's ridiculous. I can't play that game, right? What I can play is much lower in the service market. So things like sentiment analysis for tweets, for news analysis is another good spot. Things where we can combine data feeds that are technically kind of a pain in the ass to get to. Like we kind of have we're small and scrappy opportunity to say, well, a big company could, but they don't. We can move much faster from item to item to item if I design this correctly. That's sort of the idea. And it makes a really great opportunity to talk about the data. It gives a good backdrop to talk about the data science stuff. And that's more the stuff. Like I really want to grow the audience. I really want to grow Patreon. I really want to grow it so that once the current company I'm at IPOs and I get my okay payday out of that, and then when we become corporate and all the fun is gone, that I can have the next dream project come to me. Like this is me putting my 2-year bet in the pool, if I may be so blunt about it. In that if I make it so that we can train up a bunch of people and we can talk about this stuff in ways that demystify a lot of it. I'd like to just make it accessible. Like I really enjoy 538's work and what they're doing. And though they have a much more pop sci bend on things these days, it's still extraordinarily powerful, and it's still the biggest buzzword out there next to AI. And I think that more people should be able to participate, be more literate in the statistical methods that make this stuff happen. So Dirk is asking, you're one of the big ones that is on about nerfing ratting, which has to do with ISK faucets. But do you believe the wide open ISK faucets have much of any effect on inflation in the game, not including Plex? So, Dirk, thank you for the softball. I have been on the record for the most time saying that inflation in EVE is not traditional inflation. So if you're talking about inflation IRL, you're talking about the cost of living going up, your CPI, consumer price index going up. That's the price of gas, it's the price of food, it's the price of lodging, it's the price of everything. You have less buying power with the real life dollars you have. And that's not really what's happening here. What's happening is closer to gold speculation, where like you wouldn't adjust minimum wages just because gold took a particularly high run. Same for bitcoins and all of those other like physical currency kind of markets, precious metals and oil and that kind of stuff. Because that would be silly. Like you'd be riding a roller coaster and trying to pin burger flipping wages to gold bullion just seemed like you when you boil it down there, like it sounds fucking ridiculous, right? Whereas in EVE, so we talk about ISK being our core currency, and I think of CPI as what it costs to do each profession. And we've seen that stay really extraordinarily flat. So if you are doing F1 fleets in nullsec, there are bars at 50 million, 100 million, 300 to 400 million, and 1 billion, and then 10 billion. Like this is the engagement ladder. And those bars stay really flat. You want to talk about ratting? Ratting costs about 300 million a ship, and it's cost 300 million a ship for years. And these core items remain the same price. This is why at the end of the day, when I talk about if Plex keeps going higher and higher, the price of ISK keeps going down. So this is the valuation of ISK keeps going down. So the price of Plex does not affect how much titanium gets mined. It doesn't affect the other material faucets. It doesn't directly affect PvP stats. PvP stats wag the dog in this case, where those drive demand for cash, and that cash comes out of Plex. Like, it runs relatively autonomously. So it at the end of the day, it comes down to like, one, I want cash influxes nerfed because I'm not upset with the total faucet rate right now. Like, I think it's okay. Like, I want to lose maybe 12% off of it, just because we're going into a cool period. But what I really want to see is a much more diverse way to get the cash that we have. And CCP was talking about this during FanFest. I believe Quant, I want to say it was Quant. No, Quant was talking about this on Talking in Stations when he was on there, that ratting makes up such a large piece of the faucet pie that it doesn't leave the devs a lot of room to innovate in ways to rebalance the economy. It doesn't give a lot of, like, as a sandbox game, we want to see a lot of different vectors at play. You want to see a lot of different, forces all working against each other in a giant hodgepodge, complicated system. And right now, ratting incomes are taking up such a big piece of the pie that they are dominating a lot of the meta and making the game boring. It makes the game boring from a game design perspective. And I mean, I don't mean to get on my lefty politics about use it or lose it kind of wealth management, but the stacking cash to the rafters in places where they're not actively using it to go to war, or they're not actively using it to execute some plan to play the game more than just grind cash. Like it sits fallow in wallets, and it is a RMT risk if it's just going to sit in stacks, right? It's becomes an economic, and at worst, if Arth isn't completely sniffing his own farts, it leaves the levers of economics open to be really fucked with if somebody can sit around with 5 or 6 trillion worth of liquid cash and a centralized vertically integrated economy, that if they wanted to go run things into the ground, they very well could. And this is the thing I talked about months ago about it's fine if they do a centralized economy, but I kind of expect early 20th century labor things to be going on where you are owned by the factory town kind of thing, and it gets a little too wanky for what I want to talk about tonight. So there's nothing wrong with any one metric, right? But I get really annoyed watching cash stockpiles stack up and stack up and stack up and get fed this line about we're preparing for war, when all you're doing is you're just building your walls up so that nobody can attack you, so you can build your walls even higher. Like, use it or lose it, man. That's the economic theory I have at the moment. Because it comes down to we need to the rate that we're generating cash right now would be fine. Would be absolutely fine if we still had a very hot ISK velocity number, but we don't, and it's gonna get thinner going into the summer. So this is a hot system can be balanced, but a hot system goes wrong faster. And like I am one of the poster children for bigger wallet numbers is winning Eve, but like seriously, use it or lose it. Use it or lose it. It should be doing stuff. It's getting, like, the cash value of that ISK is getting devalued every day with the rise of Plex, and it's getting to the point where, like, we could talk about 2 billion a month Omega status. That is totally possible. It's a little bit improbable from where we're sitting right this second, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. And if you got 2 billion ISK per $15, like, if you go out to the bars for the weekend, like you're let's say you spend $50, like you're gonna go out, you're gonna have a bit of a party, spend $50 on a weekend. Like you could put your buds together in a capital fleet and whelp them around LowSec for that kind of money. Like you could outfit a pretty decent fleet for that kind of cash at 2 billion a Plex, right? So, like, the thing that kills me is like, it's not the any one metric. It's that when it all comes together on the picture, that like we're stacking all this cash to the rafters, but we're not doing anything with it. And ISK is getting devalued by Plex rising, but PvP numbers are going down. Like, I just want to do the Jackie Chan what face of like, just fucking do it, man. Like, it's never been. You go whelp a whole fleet. Plex prices are so high, it won't even look that bad when it hits the Z kill board. Like, this is the best time to go learn to be an FC, because your whelps are so cheap. Your PvP losses are extraordinarily cheap, historically cheap. But that's the armchair economist talking in me, and I know it still feels like a big loss, and I just don't get loss aversion when ISK is this cheap, when ISK is flowing this freely, especially out in nullsec, and why nobody is marching just to grind faces against stuff for content, Like these are all the opportunity to make the content is absolutely there. There's no reason not to. The only political reason is that you've put enough naps together and you'd rather stack fake internet money than actually kill things. So all right, questions. Any more questions? And like I don't love like Eve is anarcho-capitalism, the simulator, right? So I don't really love the idea of just like wealth taxing. I'm more than happy to get really hard with the RMT ban hammer, just because it's really funny watching those people squirm. But like that's not going to fix the problem we're in right now. And what I want to see is caps on what makes the money. I want to see the spawn rates for sanctums go in the toilet. I want to see number of rats that are in these things go in the toilet. I want to see flattening of the value of TrueSec. But like I said, I've been saying for weeks now, that needed to be on the design table for the June release. The chance to fix this is closing so fast that if Recurve is not in meetings right now to fix it, it's not getting fixed until September. And that's a long time to have this problem keep being a problem. So ACL is asking, how long do you think Eve has left in it? What with new staff at CCP and decisions being made? I don't like playing the Eve is Dying game. One, it's bad for my brand. Like I just can't I can't pull the righteous indignation. I can't pull a full Gevlon, and I find it so tiresome. So I'm kind of the last person you should ask about this. I think that Eve can continue being just fine. Like there's nothing now that it's free to play and CCP is making record money on the second on their Plex driven economy. I think things are totally open to keep going for years. Like and as much hate as Fozzie is getting for whatever he's fixing, like he knows what he's doing. He's just reaching probably the end of his tenure. A la, I always want to call him Ghost Crawler, and it's not Ghost Crawler, it's Ghost something or Gray something. I can't remember the guy who was Fozzie's contemporary like 5 years ago, whose last thing was Krios. So like I kind of expect that Fozzie and Rise might be in their last 2 years. Grayscale, thank you, Dirk. Yeah, Grayscale. Like I expect more years out of Seagull. I expect more years out of Quant, but their corporate side. I expect Fozzie and Rise to be in the last 2 years of their stuff. Not to like berate them. I'm not saying they should leave. You better beat the thing. Like I'm just saying, their tenure is reaching the point where, unless they really love Iceland, like they could be making pretty big career moves off the island towards towards larger other game stuff. Like their professional stock is reaching its peak, and I kind of expect the novelty of being a dev to be reaching its bottom point. Like I don't know if they really want to hit their 10-year. I don't know enough about either of the guys, but I don't know if they want to hit the 10 thing. So I think Eve absolutely has 5 more years in it. I can't see why it wouldn't. my pain right now is in that if we don't, I'm personally worried that the fact that we missed a major summer release, plus the fact that we're waiting so long for the winter release, leaves us in a vulnerable spot that this could be the end of this great new chapter before it really got its legs. And we'll see once they come back from the summer hiatus what new features are coming in, but like I don't know if I'm really the right person to talk about this anymore, because like I'm not as active in the metas, I'm not as tied into the game. I do not have the real life time to play Eve anymore. Like that's the main thing driving this show off the air, is that my real life job and my real life stuff is just getting too hot and to keep Eve in my diet. Like nothing against Eve, it's not Eve's fault. And but like I don't have it. Like I'm so worried about the next 6 months, and looking at the economic numbers has me really, really shaky that we're going to end up in a Serenity situation. And I mean, Serenity works, but China is weird, and we're not China, so I don't know if there's going to be enough activity, like things. The pool gets too shallow to continue to foster the content. Like is my chief worry. So I don't know what to fix that. Maybe if Scam Citizen ever comes out and everybody realizes that it's a scam and they come back to Eve, like that's about the only thing I can think of. Or like they finally deliver on the Stargate's promise. Could be a big boon, but like I don't know. It's a really hard spot to be in. I have a bad attitude right now, so it's really hard for me to see the positive side of the things. So I might just be overly negative. I'm worried. So unless they have like the most baller thing ahead of Eve Vegas, and we get a new, they open the door and Stargates come, and moon mining gets changed, and everybody starts fighting everybody in a massive 8-way war. Like, sure, maybe if the ISK velocities come back, if the stuff starts looking healthy again, like I'll be happy. But like if you ever wanted to write an Eve is dying article, like this September is going to make you, like if you wrote it this August, you could make Gevlon blush with the stats that Eve is totally dying, TM, so dying. I think that it's going to look super dark in August, and I'm super worried. I'm not looking forward to the August Myrrh. So it's again, and like I said, I think I'm probably giving it a harder, a rawer deal than it really deserves. Like whatever. I'm reaching maximum bitter vet, so please take my bitter vetting with a grain of salt, and keep those kids off my lawn. And the music was better when I was a kid. Blah 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 blah. Actually, that's a lie. Right now, the music I've been listening to has been all Alan Parsons Project and prog rock. So music was better before I was a kid. No, Phi's last show is once we figure out what the Children of Light trigger is. I mean, I want the 8-way war that we end up seeing, you know, the grand soap opera of Eve. Eve is the best when everybody's killing each other, right? And goddamn, the anime war really pissed me off. Like, it got me legitimately mad. The anime war thing of, oh, we're just gonna herf and derf on Reddit and not actually kill each other really made me mad. Like, more than it should have. Because who cares? It's fake internet spaceships. But for fuck's sake, like, it takes no effort. You just get in a ship and you shoot each other, and then you talk shit in local like we used to back in my day, instead of fighting just on Reddit like a bunch of pansies over fake internet points. About who's your favorite waifu. Like, Jesus. Cringiest thing I've ever seen. And I mean, we had a space wizard tell people to kill themselves, like, and the anime war was more cringy than that. And like, yeah, Dirk has a point that we need reasons to fight each other instead of fighting over waifus. And yeah, I'm really sad there's not like a Black Legion anymore that was sort of honorable third party screwing shit up on alternate fronts. Like, that sort of I really miss that sort of high grade Snidely Whiplash grade villain that would just do opportunistic raids on Sov guys. But I guess the fat lazy suburban life in Eve is just as much of a is what drives the thing. And like, I'm fine. I don't really care what starts the war if fighting about your waifus, like, if you're gonna pick over which pony's your favorite, then so be it. But like, actually go out and kill each other. Don't just fight on Reddit. Fight in fake real life. Kill each other like civilized people. I don't like. I mean, you pick on goons because they're not number one, but I don't think they're a good strategic target. I think that you pick on their neighbors so that you can raid their space, but you don't Sov war with goons. You make it so they can't make as much money as they want to do. Automod doesn't like your potty mouth, Dirk. Oh, that's funny. That's what it picks? Jeez. Bro flakes. All right, more questions. Because then Dirk and I are going to talk politics, and I'm just going to be a sassy bastard and read half of what he says so that I look super smart. Because I'm too tired to play this correctly. I'm a shitty host. I'm a terrible host. Garbage host. Gabbage. Let's see, I gotta make sure my darling gets home. Yeah, there's no good politics today. Everybody already shouted themselves out about Paris. Like it's a big fucking surprise. Again, I'm just going to continue to envision that it's because he's like a bitter, bratty sixth grader who's mad that some other classman showed him up and everybody laughed at him, and I'll show you who's gonna get laughed at now. Spoiler, it's you. YGB SM is asking if the Swagger API is being shelved, and that is not true. The guy who left was the guy who headed Crest, was CCP Fox 4. He also brought skins into the game, and he left a year ago now, maybe a little bit more. But Swagger is in full production now. The problem is that there are some scopes that are how do I explain this? So there's the XML API, right? And it's the only way to get some of the scopes in game is through that. A lot of the character, the account level scopes, for instance. And those are planned to be deprecated either by the end of this year or within 12 months, I think is the report I saw, which is problematic. And the guys at EveMon brought that up, that they're not very happy about that. And I know that Fuzzy Steve is talking through the CSM about it, but Swagger isn't supposed to have access to account scopes, is sort of the limitation I heard. And I don't know if there's a plan to fix that. It's kind of shitty if they don't. But like there might be design problems that keep you from doing it. So and if Crest, I think, is being deprecated at the same time. So I think Crest has 12 months left on it, which is somewhat problematic. I think I still have one thing that pulls Crest, so whatever. But ESI is excellent, and it's extraordinarily well documented, and the support is amazing. So like they're still working on it, and Snowden I still think has plenty of time at CCP with his work. So I expect ESI to be excellent and be well covered into the future. It just surpassed Crest traffic this week, if I remember correctly. So grats to CCP Snowden. I mean, you can have character scopes, but like the account one was a problem because it lets you figure out when your Omega status runs out or when your billing's going to happen, and it broke a lot of the notifications. It's right now officially unreliable, and it's in the won't fix category from CCP, which sucks. But I don't know. I don't know enough about their internals to know what to do to fix it. Just, you some things, you got to pick some hills to die on, right? I'm sure Entity would love to stop getting pull requests for his Eve API. I love being subscribed to that GitHub because people are always asking, "Can I get this feature?" And he's like, "Closed." Could you please? Would you just fix this one thing, please? He's like, "Stop calling me." GitHub really needs to put a lock on some of that stuff that says, "I'll take pull requests if you put code in it, but I'm not taking feature requests." It's one of my more favorites because it shows up in your email like once a month that somebody's asking, "I'm having trouble with blank," and he's kind of like, "Too fucking bad." Closed. I mean, I did jump in on one of his. He had a thing that was like, "Please update the PyPI," and he was like, "I don't want to," and I had to jump in and be like, "Actually, you've got a bug on PyPI that breaks Pi3, so it actually, and you have it fixed here, so could you please?" And he was like, "Okay." Cool story, dev story, right? So I'm gonna make this your 5-minute warning. More questions, more questions. You got questions. I have ranting, rambly answers. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, boop, boop, boop. Vegas. No, I will not be at Vegas. We're not making plans to be at Vegas. It is 10 years together with my wife. Not married yet. Well, I mean, we're married, but not 10-year anniversary. So we're going to see about doing something at the end of the year that's not Vegas, because neither of us really love Vegas. I mean, I love seeing all you guys. It's always great to be at live events, but I can't justify Vegas anymore. Not unless I get invited to talk, and like even then it'd be it'd only be me going down, and I'd feel like an asshole leaving my wife alone. I'd like to go to FanFest just to finally visit Mecca, get to meet some of you EU dudes, but that's pretty pricey, and I gotta figure out what our travel schedule is for the next year. Trying to goddamn, making plenty of money, but have to buy a new car, trying to get a nest egg together for a house in Seattle. Fuck me, right? Second hottest real estate market on the fucking planet, and but yeah, it's got to get the hustle down. ETA on new shows. So the best way to keep on top of that is I hope to do some office hours over the summer. Something where I can where I can like start up on a weekend and do some code work and answer your questions about specific Eve topics like that. That's something I can continue doing. I'd like to launch something by August, but that relies on me getting some code work done and figuring out sort of the plan of the show. So my one sort of problem here is that it would be way easier if I had a second host that I could bring in on this, but the sort of people I can call on for this don't really want to be on mic, and like trying to like the original plan was to sort of like make Prosper IRL, but to do that I really needed a professional mentor who is, you know, ahead of me in years on how to do it. But like I just don't have that contact, so like that shows out. And doing the code shows isn't that hard. Like a bunch of like the Python community is super open, and I've been getting connections here in Seattle about it. So like I'm close to that, but I don't think I can get a dedicated second host for that. I've got a short. So if you really want to code stuff, if you're looking to be one of the coding guinea pigs, which minimum bar there is, I really need you to have been through Codecademy and know how to program basic Python. Like I need you to understand what self means in an object, for instance. If you can do that, I'll put you on my guinea pigs list, and we should have stuff about that hopefully by mid-July. Again, Discord's going to be the best place for information on that right now. I'm still trying to figure out like the voice of the thing is kind of my problem right now. That I'd like to do something editorial so you can. The show I want to make is one where I make something like 3 to 5 30-minute shows about a project, right? Think Tinkernut on YouTube. Maybe a lot lower production value than Tinkernut, and get together and say, okay, well, you subscribe, you listen to like the 3 to 5 show series, you check out GitHub, you participate in the lab project that we have, you learn what you want to learn, you sort of get sort of a book club vibe going on about it. But like I need to figure out how the scripts are going to work, how much content we're going to produce, what the cadence is going to be. I got to find the right voice for that, and I need to go figure out how to get more blogging into my diet again. So it's a lot of soul searching, I guess, would be the nice way to say it. Vision questing, I think, is a better term for what needs to be done. So, and I mean, we'll see. I might be able to live the fairy life if when we move offices next year. So lease for the current office is up, I think, at the end of the year, and everybody's whining real hard to be on the west side, and I live on the east side, very close to work, like obnoxiously close to work. I get to be that smug asshole who's like, I don't sit in traffic my entire life. I get to work in 15 minutes. I don't have to be on the highway. All my coworkers hate me. But I think the West Siders are going to win. Hopefully we don't end up in Pioneer Square. That place is pretty skeevy. Went down to the galvanized thing one night and was like, okay, well, I mean, that part of Pioneer Square ain't bad. And then my wife and I went to breakfast at a different part of Pioneer Square and was like, oh no, this part is scary, even in the daylight. Yes. Learning about your city. Anyway, I think we're going to wrap this up. I'm just about out of energy here, feeling really low energy. Very sad. So I'm going to end the show here. I want to thank everybody who tuned in live. We had a pretty great turnout. Actually, not a bad turnout at all. And we'll be back next week, either the same regular time, or we'll do Saturday 1800, I think. We will double check. Again, get subscribed to the Discord. It's the best place to get in touch with me. That's the best place to hear about what's happening. Second best place is Twitter. And yeah, thank you again, everybody who tuned in, and thank you all of you Euro dudes who stay up until the butt crack of dawn to watch my show. It really means a lot. Thank you again. We'll be back soon. Thank you for your support. Words. Fly safe. Make tons of money. I'll see you all next week.